Welcome back. I'm Curtis Smith. Rick Daniel, the Bernalillo County horticulture agent, has some questions he's been receiving that would be relevant for us this time of the year. Rick, what do you have?
Right. I've got some questions here. One of them came from Jonathan here in Bernalillo County. I have a peach tree that already started blooming. I had intended to prune off some branches that are in the way and are causing problems. Will it hurt the tree if I prune them off now anyway?
You know, Rick, we always know that and say that we shouldn't prune after the flowers have come out. But there are exceptions to that. If a branch is in the way and it's a safety problem, we should cut it off anytime we see it, get the safety taken care of. If it's an unhealthy branch, it's one that can be pruned off now. And we've got just a situation like that here, don't we?
Right. We've got a peach tree here that's got a branch that had some sunburn, some sun scald on it. It's going to be inviting to insects and disease and that type of thing. We're going to go ahead and prune that off and show you the way to properly do that.
Well, Rick, will you show us how to do that?
Sure. All right. You'll notice this is the branch that we're going to be working on. This is the one that has the sun scald. What we want to do when we prune this branch off, we want to make sure we don't do any more damage to the tree. You'll notice on this branch there's a bark collar, a swollen area here. We're going to try to cut just on the outside of that towards the side that we're cutting off. In order to do that, we're actually going to make 3 cuts on this branch. I'm first going to make an undercut on the bottom side, and then I'm going to move out here and cut up here, and that's going to keep the bark from ripping down the trunk and causing more damage to the tree. Then when that branch falls off, I'm going to come back over here and just go ahead and prune the branch off. So let's go ahead and do that and see how we can do here. First, to make the undercut. And just make sure and get far enough through there so the bark doesn't rip through. Then I'm going to move out past that point and cut the branch all the way off. And then I'll move right in here and try to make my final cut just to the outside of this swollen area. As close as we can without getting too close into and opening that tree up for disease and stuff.
Well, Rick, that looks good. Thank you for showing us that.
You're welcome.
You said you had some other questions as well.
Yes, I've got one more. Ralph writes, I just bought a house and was fortunate to inherit some raspberry plants. There are a lot of brown, dead-looking stems and old growth on them right now. Do I leave the stems or should I cut them off? Any other comments or suggestions you may have would be appreciated.
Well, Rick, we've got some examples here. What we have here is what's called an ever-bearing variety, heritage, which is a real easy one to grow. We can use it as an example for the other kinds too, and I like to wear gloves when I'm dealing with the raspberries and blackberries and things. But this one being an ever-bearing type, the best way to handle it is to cut it down each year and let it come up again, because it will bloom in the late summer on the growth that comes out of the ground. The old types like Latham would actually come up and grow a nice vigorous cane, but then it would sit there and do nothing until the next spring. It would bloom in the spring, and then it would be through. So we had to leave them. So what we do is look for these canes that have this nice tan color in the Latham.
Okay.
And they're the ones you'd leave behind. There'd be some old gray ones. They're the ones you'd cut off in the Lathams. But with these, it's real easy. I like the everbearings. We just cut them off of the ground.
Well, that's easy enough.
Yeah.
Make sure you wear these gloves.
That's a good
idea.
idea.
All these thorns and stuff on there.
Lots of prickles.
Don't want to cut the water line there.
Oh, yes. That's all that it takes. And then you can put the cut stems into a bucket and take them to the compost pile.
Well, this doesn't take a lot of thinking. You just gotta...
Actually, you can actually run a lawnmower over them. That would do it as well.
That might be a pretty good idea.
Yeah. Well, you cut a little garlic. That smells good out here.
Yeah, I smell that.
Well, Rick, this is a good question. A lot of people wonder about how to deal with the raspberry. I like the heritage and the other everbearings because they're a lot easier to manage, but they're really not that hard to do.